What's up, MFFLs? Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports, as the Mavericks are back in action tonight, looking to get past that bad loss to the Magic. But let's get to the rumor part of the show first. Apparently, the Lakers could be open to moving Anthony Davis, at least according to some kind of speculation rumors that are out there. This one coming from Bill Simmons, as they could be looking to move AD instead of Russell Westbrook. Here's what he had to say. He said, there's some buzzing that AD might be available. That's a plan B because of the Westbrook trade or whatever they think they can get for Westbrook and whatever you'd want to give up future assets. Maybe that doesn't even make sense, because what are you getting if you are the Lakers? You've got Davis here, who I don't really think has looked the same for a couple years, certainly not close to bubble Davis. That's the last time we saw vintage 2018 level Davis. I don't know what the end game is with this Lakers team, but I know the Pelicans have their pick, and I don't think whatever they have, I don't think it's really fixable in a way to make this a playoff team. Now, Anthony Davis statistically is obviously still a really good player. I mean, he's 23-10. Obviously a really talented offensive player, can block shots defensively. But I agree with Bill Simmons here as we bring Jeff Cooperstein, our producer, in. Coop, we really haven't seen AD be that dominant night in, night out force since the bubble. Some of that due to injuries, but I think some of it due to a lack of interest at times. He just doesn't look like an engaging player.
Yeah, he's not the same that he once was. Look, he still has all the talent in the world. He's a guy who I think if he's on is a top 5 player in the NBA. If he feels like it, though, and that's a big if, especially with what's been going on with the Lakers the last couple of years. It's been hard for him to be engaged, and that's somewhat understandable, but you think when you're a player of his caliber that you'll be on every single night.
And the reason we're talking about this is because Bleacher Report listed the Mavs as a potential trade fit. There's people out there saying the Mavs need to make a move and get Luka Doncic some help, which I don't necessarily disagree with, but I don't know if this is the move that I would make, to be completely honest. So we'll ask you guys, would you trade for Anthony Davis? Type T for trade or P for pass. Coop and I each have a trade idea that we will explore here in just a second, but you guys get your votes in first. T for trade, P for pass. Would you trade for Anthony Davis? Now, the reasons you could go out and trade for him is, number one, the Lakers could be willing to give him up. They're not contending right now. They lost again last night. That would also
They're a bad team.
They just stink, man.
Yeah, they're not good.
I mean, if I'm LA, I might trade everything.
And it's crazy to say this, but Russell Westbrook's been playing pretty well lately.
I know. He's not the problem, actually, right now, which is kind of crazy. He wasn't good last night, but in general, he hasn't been a problem. Now, his contract is because they couldn't build that roster, but that's the decision they made last year. Lakers can get future assets. Now, AD's health and longevity is a concern. That's a concern for any team trading for him as well. And for LA, they could free up some cap space as well. So, Coop, when you kind of break this all down, I think you and I are in agreement. The Mavs probably don't have enough help around Luka right now to be a championship contender. Like, this is a playoff team for sure. I think they'd probably win around. Maybe you could get back to the conference finals, but it's a loaded West. I think that's probably their ceiling. But at the same time, is AD the piece to go in for if you're Dallas? I don't know. That seems a little bit risky.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk, especially with the pieces the Mavericks have. I'm not sure that the Lakers even find those pieces very desirable.
Yeah.
You have an expiring Christian Wood, a Spencer Dinwiddie, and we'll get to our trade ideas later, but there are some assets the Mavs could give the Lakers, and the Lakers might look at it and say, maybe. But I'm not sure the Mavs have the draft capital either to get a deal done. As far as a pairing with Anthony Davis and Luka, I think it would be a great pairing because I think they would play well off each other, but I'm not sure that the Mavs ultimately have the ammo to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, on paper it makes sense. It would be kind of what they tried with Porzingis, which in the bubble we saw that really start to flourish, and then KP got hurt again, and he was never really the same after that here. I think stylistically these two can work together, but again, you look at Davis, especially these last couple of years, number one, he hasn't been able to stay healthy. He missed half the season in 2020-2021. That was a 72-game season. Last year missed over half the year, only played in 40 games. That 1920 year when they ended up in the bubble, he was terrific. That was probably the best year of his career. Averaged 26 and 9 and shot over 50% from the field. He was also a decent three-point shooter, too. That's another part of his game that's just fallen off a cliff. He is just not a guy that can stretch to the three-point line anymore. Still has the mid-range game, a good shot blocker, rebounder. He can do a lot of things well. He just has injury problems, and there's major question marks around, if he's a true cornerstone winning piece at this point in time. Now, subscribe to the channel. We have the best Mavericks YouTube coverage here on the internet, so go ahead, hit that sub button. We put out a short after last night's game, a loss to the Magic. Maybe we'll do more of those pregame, postgame shorts for you guys, so be on the lookout for those as well. Hit the sub button, turn on the notification bell. That way you guys never miss a video. AD's unreliability, when you look at it, we've kind of just broken it down. Now, this year he's only missed one game, but the last 2 full seasons he's missed half the season. I mean, didn't we just do this with Porzingis? I think he's better than KP, but we've been down this road before.
You took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. We've been down this road with the uber-talented big man who just can't stay on the floor. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think Davis is probably a little more healthy than KP is overall, but it's not something that you can rely on. I'm not sure you can win a championship with it because if you know he's going to miss even 20 games, it's a big chunk of the season.
I'm almost at the point where, and I don't know who the player is, but I think an ideal Robin to Luka's Batman is just a really good wing. Like, I'm not a big fan of the guy personally, but like a Paul George type.
Yeah,
a guy who is fine being a Robin. Like, his ego's actually not that big in that regard. He's fine with Kawhi being the main guy, although Kawhi continues to sit out games. But that type of player where you get a guy who's going to give you 22 to 25 as your secondary player, and he's going to guard the opposing team's best player most nights. Like, I know it's hard to find those guys, but if you could get that type of player, I mean, I think just building on the wing. By the way, Finney-Smith and Bullock this year, your 2 go-to wings, they've been pretty underwhelming so far, so they obviously got to pick it up.
Yeah, Tim Hardaway as well. I mean, nobody is shooting the ball for the Mavs very well right now, and that's kind of par for the course. I feel like last year, we were talking about this in the office earlier, where Reggie Bullock really didn't get going until January last year. They need someone to start making some shots because, as we saw, Luka has his first bad game of the year, and they have no offense whatsoever.
Yeah, just an absolute disaster. Speaking of Luka, the City jerseys have dropped, and you can get this Luka City jersey at chatsports.com/Luka City. We'll put that link in the comments and in the description of this video. Pick up a City Edition jersey today. I think it's a pretty good-looking one as well. It's not like as cartoonish as the ones were a couple of years ago. I think it's got a good balance of, a little bit of flair, but nothing too crazy. Chatsports.com/Luka City. That is chatsports.com/Luka City. All right, we each have a trade idea here. Here was mine. Anthony Davis in a second to Dallas for Christian Wood, Josh Green, Tim Hardaway Jr., and 2 first-round picks. The Lakers probably tell me to shove it, but I'm not giving up a 3rd first-round pick, and I'm not giving up Spencer Dinwiddie because who's your other ball handler after that? Campazzo? So you got to play 20 minutes a game? I don't think you can give up Dinwiddie right now. He's just, unless you're getting a ball handler, I don't see how you can give up Dinwiddie at this point in time because who's going to eat up those minutes? You just don't have anybody who can do that right now.
So let's go to my trade idea here because it kind of segues into that. I am giving up Dinwiddie, and I'm getting back Kendrick Nunn. You're getting back that second ball handler. I added Frank Ntilikina in there as a little sweetener. Hasn't played this year yet, but he is available now. He is healthy. Yeah. He is ready to go. Like I said, I think the Lakers tell me to shove it as well, but I think this is about the best package I could come up with for Davis. I'm not giving 3 first-round picks. I don't even think the Mavs have 3 first-round picks available to give up. So they're going to have to give up 2, and maybe you can do some protections or pick swaps or whatever. But this is my best offer.
It's tough because you think back to what the Lakers gave up to get Davis. They shouldn't expect to get that type of package in return. Like, you're not getting 3 first-round picks, like a all-star caliber player in Ingram and good role players like Kuzma and Lonzo for Davis at this point.
Not happening.
Like, I don't think that's realistic at all for how he's played since the bubble at the end of the day. So we'll see if he gets moved. I tend to agree with Coop. I think other teams can offer better packages, but he could be out there, and we know that in the past the Mavs have been willing to make some trades. Which trade idea is better? Type 1 for Harry, type 2 for Coop. I think mine's better for the Mavs, but Coop's is probably more realistic in terms of what you could actually, or your chances of actually getting him. But again, obviously Davis is a better player than Dinwiddie, but who the hell is going to dribble the ball? Like, I know you get Kendrick Nunn back, but is he going to play 25 minutes a game for this team? I don't know. It seems like a stretch. 1 for Harry or 2 for Coop. All right, looking ahead to tonight's game as the Mavericks face the Wizards. Kristaps Porzingis, obviously, is with Washington now, and he had some nice things to say. Chase Hughes of NBC5 had this to say, or NBCS had this to say. He says, KP says he and Luka used to play one-on-one at practice on guarding him. Porzingis says he's just the complete package of a player. Makes it look so easy to where you're like, why aren't other guys doing this? But that's why he's Luka. That's why he's special. I like seeing this, Coop, because I think there was a lot made of what Luka and Porzingis' relationship is/was, and I don't think anybody's confusing them for best friends with one another, but I also don't think they hated each other either. Like, I think there was a lot of Carlisle friction that was intertwined with all that.
I think there was all that tension around the 2021 playoff series against the Clippers because Porzingis was mad at Carlisle and Luka was mad at Carlisle, so in turn they were kind of just not really talking. But no, they weren't best friends. They weren't going out every night together, but they were amicable. I would say they were friends. Yeah. And this shows that they had a great respect for each other. And it's sad that it didn't work out because Porzingis, I was always a big fan. I think I'm the world's biggest KP defender. I'm kind of sad it didn't work out. He's playing really well over there in Washington. Yeah. And that's something Mark Cuban predicted as well. He told the media after the trade that he thinks Porzingis will be better with the Wizards than he was with the Mavs.
I mean, look, Porzingis, when healthy, yeah, he had some bad stretches, but for the most part was an asset. I mean, he played well. The problem is he just wasn't healthy often enough. And I think him getting banged up in that bubble playoff series and then him getting phased out in that series you just talked about the next year, it's like, okay, we've had 2 playoff runs with him, and in one of them he got hurt, and in the second one he was a non-factor, his fault or not. The whole point of bringing a guy like that in here is to be a 20-10 guy in the playoffs, and he wasn't that. So we'll see what happens tonight. Big game for the Mavs after an ugly loss last night. No Christian Wood again. Hardaway didn't play that well. We'll see if he goes tonight. He's been dealing with kind of that little hip strain after slipping on a wet spot a few games ago. All right, that's going to do it. A lot of Anthony Davis trade buzz, little Mavericks Washington discussion as well. Type MFFL if you are a die-hard Mavs fan. Coop and I will be back soon with another video, so subscribe, and we will see you then.